All right, everybody, welcome back. We just covered pivot tables and pivot charts, and now we're going to do some advanced formulas. I forget which segment we're on. It's Excel 2-2 or 2-3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave all this pivot chart stuff here in case we want to use it later, but I'm going to go to sheet 2. I'm going to go back here. I went ahead and deleted the table that we had here. We didn't need it. So I highlighted it, hit delete, unfilled I did no fill, and then I did no borders. And then I would go ahead and unbold and got rid of all that. So now we have this data set to work with, and I'm going to go ahead and create, I'm going to use a formula, a couple formulas actually combined, index and match. And in my opinion, these are the most useful formulas that Excel has. You can quickly look up data in a table by using these together. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own form, and I'm going to say name. I'm going to say date, and let's say item, and total, or let's say units and total. And so what I'm going to do is I'll put in some placeholders. Jones is the first name on the list, so I'm just going to use that. Date, I'm going to use the first date on the list, 1/6/19. I want to make sure that I don't have duplicate dates on here. So every single transaction happened on its own date. There is no date that has two different transactions happen at the same time. I know that that's true, but I just want to double check. So I'm going to click on column A to highlight it all. I'm going to go up to conditional formatting. I'm going to choose highlight cells, duplicate values. I'm going to hit OK. And what that'll do is it'll highlight anything that is a duplicate. And as I scroll down, I look at these, and none of them are highlighted in red. So I know that none of them are duplicates. Let me go ahead and show you an example. If it said 1/6/19 here, you see those two become highlighted in red because it's a duplicate value. That means there was two transactions that happened on the same day. So if I undo that, now those are two different dates. All of these are different dates. No two transactions happened on the same day. And that's good because when I use my index and match, if there are multiple things that meet the criteria, then it's going to get confusing as to which one we're talking about. In this case, I know they are all unique, so I'm good to go. So my placeholder is Jones and 1/6/19. The item, in this case, for Jones and 1/6/19, the item is a pencil. I don't want to type in pencil because I want Excel to tell me that the answer is pencil, and that the answer for units is 95, and the answer for total is 189.05. These are the answers I'm going to get. In fact, I'm actually going to click and drag these down to segregate them from my inputs. So these are all inputs. I'll give them borders. And usually what I do is inputs I highlight in yellow so that I know that those are places where I need to do inputs. And my output, which I will do that, I will highlight, I'll go ahead and highlight these ones with a light green color. And that just tells me that those are my answers. So my answer is going to be, in this case, I know that my answer for item is going to be pencil, but I need a formula to tell me that. And I'm going to use index and match to do it. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do equals index. I'm going to use tab to select it. The way index works is it asks for a table full of data, and then tell it to choose a specific point within that table. So the first thing you need is an array where your answer will be found. For index, my answer will be found, in this case, I'm looking for item. And so my answer is going to be found in column E, which is my list of items. And I hit comma, and it's going to ask for what row are we in. I could say row 1, that's possible, but I don't always want to be in row 1. So if I type row 1, it's just going to always be in 1, and then I'm always going to get the word pencil, which isn't useful. I want to be in whatever row happens to match a name and a date. So I'm going to say match. And now what am I going to match? I'm going to match a specific lookup value, which in this case is going to be Jones and a date. So what I'm doing is L4 and L5, comma, I'm going to look up an array. What array am I looking for? Well, it's going to be name and date, right? Because I'm going to look for a name and a date. I'm not looking for just one thing. And so I'm going to find that by clicking the names, hitting the and symbol, and clicking the date. And then I'm going to hit comma again, and it says, what kind of match are you looking for? 0 means exact, and I know that I want exact match because I'm not going to guess at what the spelling of the name is or look at a date range. I just need an exact date and name. So I hit 0 to signify that, and then I'm going to close parentheses for my match and also close parentheses for my index, and then hit enter. I get a value error because actually I wasn't supposed to hit enter. I was supposed to hit control enter, right? Control shift enter actually. And by doing that, if I do control shift enter, it tells me pencil, which is the correct answer. Pencil is what I was looking for. I'm going to do that 2 more times, 1 for units. I'm going to do a little bit faster because we've done it once already. Equals index. Units is where I will find my answer. So I click on units, comma, match, lookup value Jones and date, comma, in name and list of dates, comma, 0, close parentheses 2 times, control shift enter. 95. This is units, so it's not dollars actually. So I'm going to go ahead and make that a comma. And the last time I'm going to do it much faster, equals index. I'm looking for the total in this case. So I'm going to return the total, comma, match, name, name and date in name and date, comma, 0, close parentheses twice, control shift enter. So now if I were to change Jones to Kivel, and in that case, Kivel did not sell anything on 1/6/2019, but he did sell on 1/23/19. He sold a binder, 50 of them for $1,000. And so now I could, if I wanted to know the unit cost, I could do the same index and match to find the unit cost, or I can just say the total cost divided by the number of units is the unit cost. And then if I wanted to do, let's do this format painter and put it there, enter, there. And so now it looks a little bit nicer. So I know my unit cost. I could change this to Howard. And on what date did Howard have a transaction? 7/12/19 was one of them, 7/12/19. And it fills in, he sold 29 binders for $57, and a binder is $1.99 each. So that is how to use index and match. VLOOKUP, which is vertical lookup, which is one option, and HLOOKUP, which is horizontal lookup, which is another option, are also are very similar to index and match. However, with index and match, I can choose any column and any row that I want within my table, and so I'm not limited to the use of how to use it. VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP are a little bit limited, whereas index and match can be used any way I choose. So that's basically how to use index and match. It's more advanced Excel functions, but I think it's extremely useful because if I wanted a table of to put in names and dates, I can get all those sales for those people. And that can be pretty useful in case a client called and said, hi, I spoke with Howard on the phone on this day. You could type in Howard and the date and come up with, that's their transaction. And if there was, if our data had a, like the customer, and then a list of customer names, I could do the same thing. I could search by customer name and date and say, hi, I bought somebody calls in and says, hi, I bought something on the 15th of September. And then I type in the customer's name, September 15th, and then it pops up with them and maybe the sales rep, and I can see who helped them and how much they bought and sold and all those kinds of things. That could be a really convenient way to do customer service type calls. So that's one way to do it. I think we're going to do one more session on something called VBA and recording macros and coding, because I think those are just super cool things. So that'll be our last segment in Advanced Excel on the next one. So see you there. Thanks.